And the good times continue on My Blend TV. Another sister of the blend is with us. My favorite person in South Carolina. Now, this is all my apologies to my buddy who lives in South Carolina, but you've been replaced. It's Chrisie Leland. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Jen. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you've been promoted now as my favorite person in South Carolina.
That's amazing. I appreciate that. I don't know what I deserve to get that, but
it's the red jacket. It's that retro Michael Jackson thing you've got going there. That's got to be it, right?
I mean, if it works, whatever you got to do.
Exactly. So Chrisie, actually, her and her husband, they own a cigar shop down in Rock Hill, South Carolina called Palmetto Breeze Cigar Place. So, ever since the pandemic, I've always wanted to basically not only feature people that are makers and insiders and everything like that, but also I love to focus on the businesses and on the shops. So I love to have you on the show. And you're a great follow on Instagram. You can hit her up at Smokin' Stogie. That's a SMOKIN Stogie, STOGIES. So let's begin at the beginning, Chrissie. How did you and hubby end up with a cigar shop?
It's crazy. So my husband's always, Aaron, he has always been smoking cigars since we were 18. And so I've always loved being around cigars. My dad was a cigar smoker. So his dad ended up just getting him a Christmas gift, went down to Miami where he was working, and he got him a humidor. Yes. And just fell in love with the atmosphere and decided to open a shop here in Rock Hill. So he has retired and was running the shop full time. But in the last couple of years, Aaron and I've gotten a lot more involved. And so now we're here almost every day and taking care of things. And I love it. I love being able to help everybody find new cigars or give recommendations. And it's just such a great community. Getting to know, this is everybody's happy place. So in the corporate world, it was like, some people have a bad day or, there's just tensions and stresses. And here it's just like everybody's finds their peace of mind and relaxes. And I love being a part of that.
And I think you hit, that's the magic word, I think, because we've been doing My Blend now for about a year. And the one thing that keeps coming up over and over again is the word community. And that's what it is, whether you're a 9-to-5er, a CEO, whatever your sort of demographic is, there is that sort of community. There is sort of like, hey, we're all here and we're joined by the leaf.
Definitely. And for us, it's really special because we're still family shop. So Aaron's dad and his mom are still here when we're not here. And then it's just couples. And I think that really helps invite people in and make them feel more at home and, welcomed having, the lady and the man. So you've got kind of the whole family set up here. And people love it. They just come and make friends and mingle. And to be part of that and have a place that offers that community and also like a place to go smoke and relax away from your traditional home, or if it's rainy or cold, which is, it's not raining now, but it's way too cold for me to smoke outside right now.
Now, I think what gets me is when you look at you, Chrissie, and it is a compliment. You're gorgeous, but you look like you're 21. So when you look like, when I first got introduced to cigars, it always was like the Oak Room, and everyone's got the Wall Street Journal under their arm, and they're smoking cigars, and it was don't talk, don't be quiet. You have that sort of rock and roll vibe about you, and I think that's got to be welcoming in and of itself. And did you find that hurt you at the beginning, where people were like, hey, do you know anything about cigars?
I definitely get still people come in and like, oh, you're smoking. And I'm not like your traditional smoker. I love Maduro, super dark, I love pandemonium. So that really shocks people when they come in and I'm smoking something this long. But yeah, it does make people kind of question and step back. And then if I'm kind of the go-to in the humidor when somebody is like, has a lot of questions or they're wanting help find something, I'm always being recruited to be sent in there. And I love But I really love researching the different cigars that I'm smoking and that I enjoy to know why they're so special, and also connecting with the different people in the industry. It's just amazing to find that the people are actually better than their cigars, which, I mean, the cigars are phenomenal, but some of the people are so amazing. So it just makes you have that love and that passion. And so when somebody comes in and they're asking about cigars and they see, like, I'm so excited to talk about them and I love the people behind them, it just kind of brings a whole nother level to their experience and more excitement when they go to light up that cigar, like why this is so special. But yeah, they do second guess, like, what is she doing here? You know, what does she know? And I'm more than happy to prove myself to each and every one. And then I'm always like, same show tomorrow, when they're like, you're smoking? I'm like, yep, same show tomorrow. It's my line.
I'm sure you kill it. So this is my favorite question that I always ask everybody on the show is, how did the cigar find you? Because I don't think we find it. I think the cigar chooses us and finds us. So how did it happen? How did the cigar find you?
So, like I've said, I've been around cigars for a long time and I've enjoyed, but I haven't always been the, like, I need a cigar kind of person until we went to Cuba a few times. But the first trip to Cuba, it's like, you got to go smoke. And I would smoke like more flavored stuff or lighter stuff. And being in Cuba and that whole experience, I remember I smoked a Bolivar Belicoso, and it was just awesome. It was something a little bit more flavorful. And I think after that, I came home and I just went straight to all the darkest, like Maduros and everything. And now I so like rarely smoke a Cuban because they're so they're, you know, more mild and just, you know, not the strength that you have from your San Andreas's and like your Nicaraguan tobacco. So, but yeah, I love, and it's funny because last year I was hanging out with a girlfriend, Alex, and she kind of put me on to lighter cigars. She had me try the Aroa First 20 Colorado, and it just blew my mind because it reminded me of the Cuban style, like where you have something lighter, but it's a lot more diverse. It's not earthy. It's just a lot more complex. And so now I find myself like fighting those little gems, like that cigar, and there's you know, like the new 20-acre by Drew Estates is kind of like that, surprising, where it has the communicate wrapper, but it has so much more behind it. So I do really enjoy that, but for the most part, I'm always smoking something dark, full body.
So I mean, I do have a confession to make. You know, despite being on the show, despite hosting some podcasts, you know, I always preach, hey, you've got to try new things. This is an opportunity, whether it's, you know, Lanceros, whether it's Robustos, whether it's some, get out of your comfort zone. But I, like a lot of people, you find what you like. You know, like right now, I've got a My Father cigar. I'm in the Padron phase of life where everything's a Patron 1964. What's your go-to smoke? Well, right now, what is Chrissie Leland, you know, when she wants to sit down and just chill, what is the smoke for you right now?
So as you know, as a smoker, there's different times of the day for different cigars. So I always like to kick off the morning with like something lighter, like the Cruxtol Connoisseur found this year. That's a big go-to for me in the mornings. And then the Aroa First 20 Colorado is like my number one choice for first cigar of the day. And then for the day, I really like mix it up, and I have to say the cigar I smoke most is the Crux Epicure Maduro. I love the San Andreas. And normally I smoke it in like short Salomon. This is the Toro. So it's really good. But those are kind of my go-tos. And if I'm like outside or at the pool or tailgating, it's always the Pandemonium, the Silas Pandemonium. Those are just great sticks for me. I love to splurge and have, you know, the occasional Padron or Placencia. I love the Sin Compromiso by Steve Saka. That's like, you know, my treat cigar, or the Feral Flying Pig. That one's pretty awesome, but I don't, you know, you don't get that one quite as often. This is my older.
Listen, I was doing research, so it's not creepy. I was doing research, and you were in the hot tub with your girlfriend smoking a Placencia, so I can confirm you were doing that, right?
100%. So we haven't gotten that Placencia yet here in our store. So I found one and I was like, I have to make sure it's just the right time because, being at the shop when I smoke, I'm always having to put things down to help customers or, interrupted with an order coming in or something. So it's just when I try something new or I'm having something special, I like to either be on our back porch or in the hot tub enjoying. It's so cold right now, so that's really the only way to stay outside. In South Carolina, it gets a lot colder than Miami.
It's funny, we travel a lot, and we take My Blend TV on the road, and there's big things happening on My Blend TV. We'll get into that. We're doing some big road trips coming up. You forget living here in Miami that there are seasons, because here the seasons we get is football season, baseball season, basketball season. That's it. It's 80 degrees here every day. So I welcome you and hubby to come down here anytime. Here in the backyard, some lounges. Since you own a shop, I'm always interested. And again, Palmetto Breeze Cigar Place in Rock Hill, South Carolina. That's where you can find Aaron and Chrissy's place. What do you look for in a lounge? Like, where does the cigar lounge owner go to lounge?
Okay, so really just somewhere people don't come ask me to pick out their cigar. Just in any other lounge, it's nice to just kick back and enjoy your cigar without, get me a beer, get me a cigar, which we absolutely love, and it's wonderful. But you dress up and you go out, and you're like, okay, I just want to sit down and have my cigar. We really love Corona in Orlando, so
yes,
we like. Yeah, and then we head to Pittsburgh a lot. I still all my family there, and my husband has his sister there still. So we go to Pittsburgh for games, and we like Burn Lounge and Leaf and Bean. But really, I haven't found any lounges that I don't love. You just walk in, and you always find new friends, and I love checking out their selections. I try to find something you don't have, which isn't always easy, but sometimes it's you find like a hidden gem.
Yeah, what gets me, and especially here in Miami, we've got a lot of great places, and you can go to our app. We've toured a lot of the great lounges here in South Florida and Miami, and I invite you to go check those out at myblend.tv. But one of the hardest places to find is a place that has both that atmosphere, the great sticks, and food. That's always been the hardest part. And I know there's that, hey, I don't want to eat and smoke, but sometimes you want to get a little charcuterie board, or you want to get something to nosh on while you're smoking. Do you find that hard? I mean, do you serve food at the Palmetto Breeze?
So we can't have cigar or can't have smoke where you have food, and you can't have liquor unless you have food. So we don't have liquor. We just have beer and wine here.
That's fine.
And coffee and yeah. So we just kind of have to make it a different experience. But there are some really great restaurants. Like we found the Palm in Charlotte will actually set up a table for you outside at the fountain, and you can smoke there, and we leave ashtrays there so that we're set. But it's such a great experience to be able to have some like fine dining and enjoy your cigar with wine or drinks. It's definitely something I wish we had here more regularly, but we do still have kind of every once in a while a treat. But I think that's amazing when you can do the whole experience, and then you're there for instead of an hour or two, make a whole evening out of it. So I do love that. I don't mind smoking with my food.
So tell me about the industry. I mean, obviously you're involved in it with Palmetto Breeze Cigar Place. Where is the cigar industry? I mean, you've been doing this for a while. Has it changed? Where is it going? Is it a good place?
I think it's in a good place. I think it's great to have, new products like Drew Estates has come out with, the acid line and the dead bloods to kind of bring younger people, or just not even younger, just new people in the cigar industry. And I think they've kind of expanded that with the 20-acre farm too. I think that's something, because for me, I remember trying Connecticut's and they just weren't my thing. And so I just immediately was turned off from smoking cigars just because I didn't like earthy tones. And so I do think like having more versatile, more options out there for people who, maybe it isn't as dark or is a smaller size, really is a lot more inviting to the community to bring more people in. And so I think that's good for the industry. I also think that with people working from home, we're seeing a lot more traffic. We didn't have to shut down for COVID. I think we had adjusted our hours, but we stayed open, and the amount of traffic it was more box buyers and people stocking up because they are used to smoking a lot more often. They're at home on the Zoom call, so they're just puffing away the next one, and they don't want to run out and have to do a run. So I did see, an increase that way. Like I know in other interviews, you mentioned the boom of the internet with the cigars, and it does kind of affect the brick and mortars. And we will have people say, "Oh, I can get this online," but we offer a box discount, and so if you get 20 mix match cigars, you get that box discount, which puts us, pretty competitive with the internet. And with the internet, you mostly have to buy a box to make it worth their shipping and everything. So, and I think people are getting back into wanting to be together, and so having the lounge open offers an opportunity. And it's funny because we did see people disappear for months or a year, and then they're just trickling back and finding their old cigar home and their old cigar friends still here waiting for them. So it's really wonderful to see. And I think this cigar industry is in a great place. Of course, there's always a potential for growth, but I think it's less intimidating. And maybe because I'm in it, and so I don't find it intimidating anymore. But I think that's one of the big keys is to make it less exclusive and more attainable for everybody. And you don't have to go into a lounge and feel like you need to know exactly what you want. You can come in, ask for help. People are more than happy to engage. I see our patrons come in and they love to recommend another cigar. It's not just the staff. The other people can't wait to tell you why they love a cigar and that you should try it. And you might not love it too, but I think the only way to find the best cigars is to just keep trying everything. And then at least you have, a comparison. So yeah, I think it's in a great place.
Because I wanted to talk to you about the cigar palette. Like, how did you develop yours? Like for me, I feel like I'm still not there. I mean, did you use like if I've had people say, "Well, it's got to be coffee or it's got to be certain cheeses or wine"? How did you get that, or are you still developing yours? 'Cause, like mine is still like in the embryonic stage.
Yeah, I'm really surprised because there was a time where, I did flavored and sweet. And then, of course, now I love darker cigars. And I think it's easy to get into a niche where you're like, oh, this one is always good. This is what I want to smoke because I know what to expect and I love it. But, just like in March when I started trying lighter stuff, like you really don't know unless you try it. And I really enjoy it with different things like coffee and having the lighter sticks. But it's just kind of trial and error. And I feel like your palate changes. Like food you used to like when you were younger or even 5 years ago, you may not like anymore. Same with cigars. So it's never a bad idea to go back and revisit and do it at different times with different things, maybe with a meal or maybe with a mixed drink, maybe, mix it up so if you have it one way, because it can change so much. Like the same stick, if it's like windy, it can be hard to keep lit and people were just like, oh, no, thank you, and like you also have to think about your conditions of when you enjoyed it. So I think my palate certainly is still evolving. I think I will always love the cocos and the leathers and the richness of those types of cigars. And I'm so grateful that there's always more coming. Like the Asylum just came out with the PCA exclusive, and that was just the right everything, something new and different. But I mean, I think there's always going to be new things, so it's good to just keep trying and expand your palate. And I definitely think you should try something more than once.
Now, I will say this: it's got to be a challenge because to this is your family business. You and your husband do this. Does it get like, man, I see you every day, every minute of the day. Can you just stand outside for a second so I don't see? I mean, there's got to be some challenges of that, especially if if somebody's having a bad day.
I mean, people are shocked by this, but we are best friends, and I like love being with him 24/7. It's been that way since we were 18, so we'll be together 22 years in March. So, and it hasn't always been every single day, but before cigars, we worked together in the engineering world in the power sector. So we worked together for a number of years there, and then he did cigars, and I worked for another company. But I absolutely love it. I mean, there's no fearing Monday or dreading Monday. We're so excited to get back to the shop, see our friends, and then the day just flies by. Like, I feel so blessed to be doing something I love with people I love. And, it's really true when they say if you're doing something you love, you'll never work a day. And so it's been wonderful. And I couldn't have picked a better partner in life to do it.
That's amazing. No, that you're absolutely right. All right, so what's next? I mean, what's the future hold for Palmetto Breeze for you for in this industry? What is your goal? What's the end goal now?
I'm a big dreamer, but I don't necessarily have specific things in mind as far as what direction this will take. Aaron's parents are kind of, stepping back more and more. And so as that happens, we're kind of adjusting, and it's hard to kind of create another shop like we were thinking potentially. But, we're just seeing where things go. Have the Panthers training facilities being built less than a mile from our shop. So that'll be opening next year. So we really are looking forward to seeing all the community that brings, and just what kind of adjustments on our location and hours that we need to make to fulfill that. But I just really aspire to bring the very best, most limited, and most wonderful cigars to our shop. I love being able to, have somebody was looking for, or they're calling me friends. They're like, oh wow, they have, this in compromiso, or whatever this cigar that they've been hunting, we've got it. So that's such a good feeling. I want to keep doing that. And of course, I love expanding the online presence, whether it be Instagram or Facebook, just getting out there in the community, just being another face that isn't so scary in the cigar world, that would be like inviting more people to find this, because it's such a relaxing, amazing thing. It's really done a lot for me as far as, just like stress, anxiety. It really forced me to chill out and just take an hour for myself and feel like it's the world knew that they had this release, and it's not medication. It's not, all jumping through hoops. It's just breathing and enjoying a car. I think it would be a much better place.
Well, I love it. Listen, you've got me in trouble because I've got friends that are actually your neighbors, which is crazy small world. And my friend's like, listen, I've been living in this town for years, and now you want to come visit because there's a cigar shop nearby. And I was like, well, work, 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 my friend, work, work, work.
And that's all it took. We have been here 10 years too. You need to get on it.
I've been in Miami for 10 years. Well, listen, I'm definitely going to come and see you guys, and I'm bringing everybody with me. It's Palmetto Breeze Cigar Place. It's in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Where can we find the shop? Where can we find you on social media? Where can we look all this up?
So the shop has a Instagram, Palmetto Breeze Cigar Place, and then I'm at Smoking Stogies on Instagram, and yeah, so come find me, like us, follow us. We always like to post when we get special stuff in, and do promotions and things like that. We don't do any online shipping yet, so gotta come in and hang out.
We'll put that on the bucket list. We'll put that on the goals.
Yeah, maybe that's for the expansion. 5 years.
We've got cigars to smoke. It's Chrissie Leland, Smoking Stogies on Instagram. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you soon, amiga.
Thank you so much for having me.